Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of QB1 with ultra-talented quarterback guru Crissy Froyd, and she is here to talk about Vanderbilt signal caller Mike Wright. Crissy, Vanderbilt is kind of like a lowly team heading into 2022. How does that affect a quarterback like Mike Wright going into this season?
Yeah, well, I think Vanderbilt overall, if you play for that team, there's just low expectations every single year. And so
Mhm.
the supporting cast and the offensive line is never going to be the same as the rest of the SEC. And I feel like that's something that you honestly just got to accept. I think that Clark Lee has done some good things there. I mean, whenever you come over to a program like that, that has been that lowly for so many years, it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be an overnight rebuild. And I mean, the recruiting power that Vanderbilt has is obviously much lesser than the rest of the SEC. So it's just something that's going to take a lot of time. So I think that, I mean, you have to be able to do a lot from a quarterback perspective there just because the pieces around you are not always going to be up to par.
Based on your deep knowledge of the position, explain to me who is Mike Wright as a player and what qualities are there to like about him?
Well, I think that he's someone who's decent as a passer, needs to grow, but I think that the kind of what the turning point was and making him the starting quarterback over Ken Seals came down to what he can do with his legs. And I think that that's something that we've seen him do before. And I think that just to add a spark to an offense that's constantly lacking like Vanderbilt's is, that's something that could really help them a lot.
You had the great opportunity to talk with Vanderbilt's head coach about Wright at the SEC Media Day. What did you learn about him and the Vanderbilt quarterback situation as a whole?
Yeah, well, he had a really long response, and apparently he had not fully disclosed who the starting quarterback was. So it actually came out
Oh.
to the public in that moment whenever I asked him about what Mike Wright brings to the table just overall. And so he said that I mean, it was obviously a tough conversation to have with Ken Seals. And he said that he did like a lot of what he saw from Ken Seals, who really was, especially as a freshman playing for a team like Vanderbilt, was really impressive and caught a lot of people's eye early on. But I think that Mike Wright, like I said earlier, does bring kind of the added spark. And so he said that, I mean, that it was a tough decision, but it was one that they felt that they had to make and that they wanted to take the time to really address this the right way, and that he still does see a lot of talent in Ken Seals, but Mike Wright is definitely who they're going to be rolling with moving forward.
Talk to me about like the mobility aspect of Mike Wright's game and how much that helps his overall game.
Yeah, I think in today's era of football, it's important to have some level of mobility. I've always been a big advocate of the pocket passer, but at the end of the day, if your supporting cast and your offensive line is not just absolutely amazing, a lot of times you're going to have to
Yeah.
bail yourself out of bad situations. You're going to have to be a player who can be utilized and design quarterback runs that can make things happen and get to the end zone on your own. And I think that especially with a team like Vanderbilt, that's something that becomes important. And I do think that if he does have a fighting chance of eventually catching some attention and trying to go on to the NFL, which we don't see a lot of Vanderbilt quarterbacks go on and do and be successful, that's something that's going to help him and that's going to make him stand out more than some of these other quarterbacks that have played there in the past.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more QB1.